The Time Shift.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Time Shift. This week I review the latest episode of Doctor Who titled Wishwood. We kick off this review as we always do with these reviews by talking about the story, the writing and tangentially related matters. I will just say here and now I might accidentally refer to this episode as the Wish Engine. If I do that I apologise, but in any case let us get on to the substance of the review itself. And in time-honoured tradition for this channel and my general review style, let's just eliminate any pretense here and just say that this is, well, probably a very standard, typical penultimate episode of a given series of Doctor Who. I don't mean to sound crass or rude or harsh to it, but at the end of the day, this is an episode that does everything it needs to, for better or for worse. I did enjoy it, almost from start to finish, but at the end of the day, this is a lot of the kind of stuff that we'd seen before. Not in a literal sense, because there's a lot of interesting and new material here, but at the end of the day, this feels like almost any given series finale of a modern run of Doctor Who, especially in the Russell T Davies era. Those eras where the big season-long mystery is just a word or a phrase in the background until the final two episodes where it all becomes very, very apparent and very, very deliberate as to what it all is. The big reveal is here, as though it wasn't done in the previous episode, that the Rani is back and they're up to no good. And also another time, space god thing, but now it's a space god baby. Blimey, Charlie. Look, I know that there's some people out there that really do dig the whole space god thing, that having those as being adversaries for the Doctor and such, but at this point, I really, really am just looking forward to the days where the big end of series bad guy is just the Daleks, or just the Cybermen, or just the Sontarans, please. But even if it was them, we'd still end up getting episodes like this that at the end of the day are let down by the fact that the lead up into all of it is the season-long mystery, or at this point 2 season-long mystery, really isn't that interesting at all. Like the whole stuff with Mrs. Flood being the Rani, it is no more relevant to the end thing like the word bad wolf is. I mean, the only one that you can really say that is in any way very connected to the big end not even then. I was about to say Torchwood is the only one that really connects massively to the end storyline, but even then, that was just a backdrop. It didn't really matter to the whole season-long mystery. And this is another case where the season-long mystery is just a name. It's just a character, and yet the big thing we're fighting against is something totally out of left field and not seen up until this point. Alright, granted, it technically is, because we're in an era of Doctor Who now where we're facing off against gods on a weekly basis, but you get the idea here. To actually, again, talk substantively about the episode itself, I did enjoy it for what it is. I think there are neat elements. I think the pre-title sequence stuff with the Rani going to that little village and then turning the women into pels and the children into ducks, neat, fun. I was going to say cute, but you get the idea. It's a fun little gag, even though technically with something the Rani should do, it should be more like with science, as she was very much a very deliberate scientist, but hey ho, it's a different interpretation of the character, even though it's the same character as we've known them before, okay? And all the pre-title stuff with the Doctor and Belinda having this very twee, very BBC 60s, 70s sitcom life, cute, fine, good, all that stuff, it works well for what it is, but at the end of the day, much like the stuff with Mrs. Flood, it's ultimately window dressing for what the big threat to this episode is, this being this reality collapsing incident, which itself only really comes into play in the final few seconds of the episode. Like, it's a lot of build up to a very climactic and spectacular series of special effects, but up until that moment, it's a lot of speculation and hearsay. Speculation and hearsay that our main cast isn't involved with for the most part. Even Ruby Sunday doesn't really contribute much of anything to this episode, apart from the scene that we end up getting that gives us some kind of hint as to how this big wish machine thing works, how the powers of this god work, that, oh, because he doesn't perceive disabled people as such, they're not involved in the magic bullshit that's going on. Again, I understand that, but even still, that itself doesn't really seem, at least as far as this episode is concerned, foreshadow or set up some way in being able to solve all of this. I mean, I get this feeling that at some point in the next episode, and this is genuine speculation on my behalf, and not some kind of plot leak thing, that the big thing will end up being Susan will be the one that will adopt this baby, and then they'll just spend the rest of their existence telling stories to this baby in order to make sure that they don't destroy reality. I've got a feeling that's going to be the end result of all of this, but I don't know, because I am one of the few people out there who doesn't actively seek out leaks, and when in the event I do find a leak, I'm not pretending as though it's some kind of big reveal on my behalf, you know, oh, I suddenly discovered this, I put it all together because I'm a big brain Doctor Who fan. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but at least I'm going to be willing to put my neck out, so to speak. Yeah, me put my neck out with a whole of 152 subscribers, but in any case, like I say, I enjoyed this episode for what it is. It is the penultimate episode of a season of Doctor Who, but it's a season of Doctor Who where the season-long mystery, even though it is a very animate mystery, a mystery that's been going on in the background now since the previous season, at the end of the day, it is no different to Bad Wolf, Torchwood, Paradise, or any other given catchphrase thing that bubbles around in the background, and is only really relevant to the final 2 episodes. And I do think that ends up taking away a lot from it. Another thing that takes away a lot from it is the fact that we had the reveal that this was the Rani in the previous episode, during the credit sequence. Like, had that reveal have been held off till this week, oh wow, that would have at least have been something. You know, oh, this person that's actually been flying around, this mysterious new character, they're a time lady. Who could it be? Could it be the Rani? Or could it be Susan? Or could it be someone else? Could it be the Master? Now as Missy again. But no, we know it's the Rani from the previous episode. As such, there's no real mystery here as far as who they are. The only mystery is to how all this came to be, and we end up getting that in the final few seconds of the episode with a fourth wall almost breaking thing of, oh hey, you know, we're delivering exposition here, but we're delivering exposition here because we need to deliver exposition, because then the big doomsday reality warping breaking thing can happen. I'm sorry if it sounds as though I'm really ragging on this episode. I don't want to rag on it, but this is the penultimate episode of a series. Regardless of Doctor Who or not, I'm kind of expecting something a little bit more spectacular, something a little bit more thrilling. And maybe for people who are newer to the series, maybe people that started at the start of this Season 1 era, this is thrilling and new, but as someone who's been watching this series pretty much consistently for the past 30-odd years at this point, there's nothing here that really stands out to me as being particularly exciting or interesting. I mean, all the stuff with this fake life that Doctor and Belinda were living together, that stuff was interesting, but it really did nothing with it. It was all stuff that was just in the background with, again, most of our cast being just passive, and nothing really happening until our villain ended up revealing themselves, and that didn't really come to the final 5 or 10 minutes in the episode itself. Like, there's a lot to enjoy about the episode in and of itself. I liked the narration bit that Conrad was saying. I liked all that stuff, and I felt that itself was an interesting way to play off of him and to build him back into all of this. I like the little twitches and little twists to rework this world, how UNIT is now the unified national insurance team. I like that stuff. I love the set design. That whole Bone Palace thing is spectacular. It looks brilliant. Why it has to be made of bone and such, I really don't know. That's not really explained, but even still, that looks brilliant. The set design looks brilliant. The costumes look brilliant. It's saying that it's a shame that the story and the whole writing of it doesn't quite live up to all of that. It's a lot of passivity from our cast. Again, it kind of makes sense, but even still, the fact that Ruby Sunday is not affected by any of this, you'd expect that at least in that instance, she would be the driving force of the episode. She'd be the one going around all places and every places, discovering all the mysterious stuff that's going on in the background, but she doesn't. She has this fun, interesting meeting with this little resistance movement made up of disabled people, but then at the end of the day, she just ends the episode just squatting down behind a wall and seemingly getting squashed by a giant piece of the unit building. Like, there's a lot of cool and interesting stuff here. Some stuff I'm not exactly thrilled of, like, I will admit that the whole the whole bit in Bavaria went on a little bit too long for me. As much as I enjoy seeing Bonnie Langford back again, I do wish that they would at least, for the sake of variety, lean on bringing in another classic cast member. Like, Bonnie Langford at this point is pretty much just a recurring character at this point in Doctor Who. You could have brought in a different character. Even one from the Chris Chibnall era, it would have been neat. Like, oh, their next door neighbour is Ryan or Graham or someone. Or Yaz. Just a quick little nod. That would have been cute, because ultimately all their job is there to just stand in the background and look scared when everything starts falling apart. I really, really hated the soundtrack to this episode. Like, in certain moments it makes sense, like, because the Doctor and Belinda are in this kind of almost 1950s sitcom-looking world, but at the same time, there's nothing about it that makes it feel like 1950s B-movie sci-fi thing. Like, just how overpowering and overplayed and trite and cliched the soundtrack is in this episode especially, it really pisses me off. I don't understand how the hell people can like Murray Gold as much as they do. Like, he was fine 20 years ago, but at this point, what the hell is going on? Every single goddamn scene in this series is overplayed to hell and back, mostly due to the soundtrack. It's just so overpowering, overbearing every scene that it is. It takes away from the moment. It doesn't add to it. It feels like it's smothering the life out of what's going on the scene. I know I'm a weirdo that kind of likes more minimalist soundtracks and more minimalist art and presentation to television shows and movies and theatre, but even still, you've got that really fantastic moment, shot brilliantly, where Belinda's running out the house and going up into the little like wooded area nearby the house, and you start screaming, and that's a great moment, but it's overplayed by this like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if Mr. Darcy's going to turn around the corner or Dracula's going to start descending on every bastard in the area. It's so overplayed, it takes away from what could have been a great little bit. Okay, I was going to give some people go, oh, that's such a moving moment. That's such a great moment in this episode. The moment where everything's breaking down. Yet the moment in and of itself is good and great and fantastic. This moment where the entire reality of what she's perceiving is breaking down in a way she can't comprehend. But it's overplayed by that music in the background. I mean, Jesus Christ. And I would have been at least a little bit more willing to forgive it had he played the episode more generally played into that. Like, if this stuff with the Doctor and Belinda in their little world was a lot more like some kind of 1950s melodrama thing. Had they gone full tilt into that and just gave it like a black and white, like, old movie aesthetic to it, then it would have been a lot more acceptable and it would have played into it a lot more. You know, you have the black and white stuff for when the Doctor and everyone else has the mind control stuff on them, but for Ruby and everyone else who isn't affected by it, it's all in brilliant modern day colour. That would have been great. That would have been interesting. One set of people living with this very trapped, very contained reality, and the others are a lot more out there and a lot more real and a lot more alive. Yay! I know this is getting to how I would have done it territory, but good God, I get so triggered by bloody Murray Gold soundtracks, because at this point, for fuck's sake, learn some sense of scale. Don't want to be fair, from a purely compositional point of view and a music point of view, it's fine, it's good. I just don't think it was used well in that particular moment. Or if they are going to play with music that is that over the top, maybe the scene itself could have been more over the top. Yes, it would have taken something away from the drama of what's happening there. But again, if we're going to play into this more melodramatic moment, if we're really going to play into this 1950s, 40s, Christ, I'm going back even further every time I bring up the years. But you get the idea. If we're playing into that kind of melodrama, we should go whole hog into it rather than just doing this little bit. Like itself, like, if this is really supposed to be like this kind of 1950s vision of the world and the universe and everything, that we should have played into that, so that when you get the moment where Belinda rings up the authorities and reports the Doctor, you know, she's on the phone saying, I think my husband might be the big gay. We could have then played into that a little bit more. You know, if we're going to play into the melodrama, play into the melodrama. Otherwise, it strangles it. It really takes away from something from here. And of course, towards the end of the episode, we have the big reveal that, well, it's not the big reveal because there's a lot of broadcasters out there that are pretending that they solved the mystery, when I know they'll have looked at the plot leaks, that the big bad guy, this third entity, is Omega. They're bringing back Omega, everybody! All we got with them was a voice cameo, because I don't know whether or not they have the rights to the character wholesale or not. I suppose we'll end up seeing in the next episode or so. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, as I'm sure that someone no doubt will, but I thought that Omega was a being made of antimatter, that the whole reason why he couldn't come back to our universe when the story that was first introduced to was because he was made of antimatter, and if he did do, the universe would just explode. Then there was that later appearance of him during the Peter Davison era, where I think that he tried to make a human, well, not a human, a more matter body for himself, but ended up killing him. But now he's back because we need to plunder as much from the past as we possibly can do. It really does feel at this point like it's a case of, okay, who haven't we brought back at this point? We need something to get the fans on the side. Something, anything. Who's a bad guy or villain we haven't seen in a while? Omega? What we're gonna do to tease the return? We'll just go from there. In any case, let's get on to the performances, and I'm not going to lean on this for too long, because at the end of the day, this is one of those situations. It's a case of, yes, everyone is good for the role in which he's written in this episode, but there's nothing about the writing itself which gives them a chance to really show themselves, gives them really a chance to shine, because this is one of those situations where the entire cast is so passive, and we keep jumping from one moment to another, that it never really feels as though any characters get enough time to really just be themselves, and as such the actors don't get time to act or to perform. Like, this is an episode that is set up for so many fantastic little moments with the actors. We have, again, this retro 1950s sitcom drama thing with the Doctor and Belinda. You could have played into that a lot more and had them playing to that. You only really get anything like that in the little bit in towards the start of the episode where they wake up in bed together. Oh, hello, darling. Oh, hello, darling. Oh, there's our daughter. Ha, ha, ha. That's as close as you really get to anything with those characters. Similar kind of thing with Ruby, but although reversed. She's there in this world where nothing makes sense and everything's weird and everything's strange, and yet, despite the fact she's the only named character that knows what's really going on or has a hint at what's going on, she contributes nothing to the episode itself, and as such doesn't really get much of a chance to show off her prowess as an actor. Same with the rest of the cast, but again, you can say that because they are characters that are under mind control and they don't have the opportunity with which to do so. But even still, like, look, from just a meat and potatoes perspective, everyone did fantastically well. They are selling the idea that something mysterious is going on here, and they're all under some kind of control. I mean, this isn't quite, you know, the Twilight episode with Bill Mooney where everyone's pretending to be, haha, everything's wonderful and everything's nice and nothing bad happens over here. In this case, it's because everyone is deliberately mind controlled, but still it does feel like a missed opportunity to really play into these actors and give them a chance to shine, given just how strange and weird that this world really is. Like, it really does feel like there's just a series of missed opportunities. That this was a story that was written from the point of view of trying to build some kind of mystery in the course of about 45 minutes. A mystery that should have been built over the course of the past 6 episodes to get us up to this point, but didn't, because this is a modern Russell T Davies inflected series of Doctor Who, and as such, we don't have mysteries that run in the background constantly. We just have words and phrases and cameo appearances. So as regards, we had to do all the build-up in this episode, taking away the opportunity for the actors to actually do much of anything, which is a shame. Let us, with that said, get into the overview and just say that, yeah, the episode itself is good. It's good in the sense it does what it needs to. It's like you order a curry and you want it to be spicy, and oh, it's a spicy curry. Good, great. That's what it should do. You order a soft drink and you want something that's sweet and fizzy, and oh, it's sweet and fizzy. But at no point does that curry like make you feel so, oh, that was a great curry, or oh, that was a great fizzy drink. So this is recorded very close to lunchtime, I'm afraid, everyone. Sorry. But anyway, you get the idea. It does everything it needs to, but it never goes above and beyond to really sell what's going on here. And I think that's a shame because, look, this might be the penultimate episode with Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, and he's not really had much of an opportunity in his penultimate episode to do much of anything. Yes, this is an episode of the Doctor Who where the Doctor doesn't act like the Doctor, but that's still an opportunity for the actors to do something. This is, I think, a broader problem with Doctor Who more generally, where it isn't written in such a way as though it gives the actors opportunity to act. This has been a problem for me for the majority of the Russell T Davies Mark II era, and it's an issue for me for the majority of the Chris Chibnall era. It feels like the only time in recent history we've had Doctor Who written in a way that actually makes use of the actor playing the Doctor. We haven't had that since bloody friggin' Peter Capaldi. We didn't even get that when David Tennant crawled out of his crypt to do his mini-series. But we'll see where all that goes going forward. In any case, with all that said and done, let's get into the No, wait, we're in the overview. Let's get to Comment Corner! It's time for Comment Corner. One comment from Big X1. It says, it was an okay episode, but I thought the message was weird to me. You're not the only one that picked up on this, of course, referring to the episode, the Interstellar Song Contest, and the messaging within the episode is something a lot of people have picked up on. I know that's not good English, because I have realised as I'm doing this section, I didn't reply to Big X1's comment directly. I tried to do it with everyone's comment, I really do, but work problems for me at the moment. In any case, I am very aware that people have had issues with the messaging of the previous episode. I will admit, from a personal point of view, I don't think it's saying what some people are thinking that it's saying. I just think that at the end of the day, it was one of those situations where it was well intended, but it really buggered up the delivery of that message. And it's another one of those situations with Doctor Who where it does feel like scene missing. Like the Doctor discovers a character is doing something because of X. In the classic series, you'd then probably have an episode following up with this, where the Doctor deals with X. If there was a more classic episode of Doctor Who, or even a mainline written by the showrunner episode, this would have been a two-parter. And the second episode with the Doctor would have been the Doctor going off to deal with this super mega corporation, but wasn't. So you get an episode that itself has some very odd messaging, I do agree. But again, I don't think it means what a lot of people think it means. But anyway, thank you for your comment, and let me know what you thought about this week's episode, everyone, and let me know what you... Well, I think now is the time to start thinking about what you felt about this season overall. I have my thoughts. We'll just see where all this hangs together when we get to the next episode, but we'll soon see about that. But anyway, thank you all for listening, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye!
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, click the bell, and do all the YouTubey stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Go on, it'll do me a power of good. Until next time, my friends, goodbye!